The title of this recording is Spiritual Frequency, and this is A, Section A. Spiritual Frequency A. Okay, we're going to look at spiritual frequency from the level of religion and spirituality. In fact, spiritual frequency is an expansion of energy and consciousness. Now, you will find that there is a set of recordings, on energy and consciousness, but this is an expansion of that in the set of recordings that have to do specifically with religion and spirituality. So that's what this is here. And the reason we're doing that is because religion and spirituality is sort of its own thing. When you think of things on this planet Earth, religion is sort of its own category, and spirituality is sort of its own category. Now, this is how it's set up on this planet right now. Would I recommend that you keep thinking about it like this? No, absolutely not. I recommend just the opposite, in fact. That you stop categorizing this, because this is, in fact, a thing to put the humans off the idea of consciousness. That's why the religions are what the religions are. And there's plenty of recordings that you've listened to that should already have laid this down for you. So, again, there's no sense in going over it again. But I highly recommend that you not take everything on here and just say, oh, well, this is just for religion and just for spirituality, because that just ain't so, as they say over here. Texas, come on. That's just not the truth. Religion and spirituality can be a very complicated thing, because energy and consciousness is a very complicated thing. We're dealing with the four components. We're dealing with all four aspects of yourself when we're talking about this. This is not theory. This is not, okay, I understand my religion. This is not that. This is also not, okay, it's all physical. I feel it, it's all fit. No. It is a blend. All four components come into play when we're dealing with this. And if I say if, our religion, whatever it happens to be, was truly understood from its core, and this is a long time ago, was truly understood from its core, this would be taught as part of the religion, if it's a religion of light, of course. It would be taught as part of the religion, because it is, in essence, the core. We're going to look at that more carefully as we go along, but this is a very, very, very important point to understand, because this is the essence of religion and spirituality for human beings on planet Earth. It is about the vibrational frequency. It is about bringing your vibrational frequency up. It is about connecting to the rest of the universe. It is about, and I'm going to use religious terms here because this is religion and spirituality. It is about connecting to God, the real God, not the religious fantasy of God, not the, well, God has to take this form and God has to take, no. God does not take this form and that form. God is, period. God is, period. I'm going to use the Bible. I will be, when Moses, let's go to Moses. Now I'm covering all the stuff that deals in Moses. Moses asked God, well, who do I tell him is sending me? Because God's telling Moses, hey, whatever form God chose at that moment, okay? God's telling Moses, hey, go over to the Pharaoh, your old people, and tell him, this Hebrew group, I need them released. I need them released, and tell them they're going to come with you. And then we see the whole Ten Commandments movie come out of that. Anyway, but Moses asks this thing, whatever this thing is. He says, hey, well, now mind you, okay, Moses is trained in the pyramid systems for decades. The guy is an extreme initiate from the Pharaoh's family. Don't forget this. Don't let your religion make you stupid on this point, okay? This is a very big point. On the point of prophets and people like Moses and the Christ and John the Baptist, and if you're coming from the Christian perspective, all of these people, don't let your religion make you stupid on these points, because that's what they do, because literally it's conditioning. They've been conditioned that way. It's not their fault. But they just don't know. And they haven't known for centuries because it was conditioned out of them. That's why hopefully by the time you get through listening to a bunch of these recordings, you'll start to catch on and understand, hey, what's in my personal best interest? What's my personal best interest? What's the best path for me as a human on planet Earth in the 21st century? What is best path for me? That's the question you should be asking yourself. What's going to make me have the best life? What's going to make me the happiest? What's going to, all of this other stuff. I mean, it's so jumbled up. You really need to be asking yourself this question. But anyway, back to my point. Never forget that when we're talking about Moses. Never ever forget that. Now, so when Moses says to this being, God, hey, okay, I show up, I make the demands, but who do I tell Pharaoh? Someone he actually knows. Who do I tell Pharaoh, or related to someone he knows? Who do I tell Pharaoh? Like, what am I going to say? Okay, this God sent me or that God sent me. And God says to him this. In the Bible it's recorded as, I am that I am. But in reality, in the old Hebrew language, it actually is, I will be whatever I will be. Whatever I decide I'm going to be, that's what I'm going to be. Just whatever. I'm going to show up however I decide to show up. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But they put it in the phraseology of, I am that I am. And, they've been teaching it this way for 1,000 years. So, we don't want to rock their boat. I mean, this whole thing isn't to upset the organized religions. It's not to upset them. It's to free us. It's to free us. It's to expand us. So we get what out of it, what was actually put into it, which is not happening now, okay? It's not happening now because the spiritual frequency is not being raised, okay? So keep that point in mind, because what was really put into it is what is at its core. Now, do we know what's at its core anymore? No, we don't, because we've had century upon century upon century upon century of conditioning. It's just like someone telling a little kid, hey, that sky, even though we know it's blue, that sky isn't blue. That sky is azure, or just pick a color. And you keep telling this kid over and over and over and over and over, and pretty soon that lie becomes a truth. Well, that's what has happened to the populations of Earth in the religions. There's a reason why. There's a reason why every so often, every so many centuries, the actual real God, the God. There's only one. This is the one God, the supremacy. Infuses back into the earth populations a root core of a thing again. There's a reason it happens, okay? The last time it happened, in my opinion, was Jesus Christ on planet Earth. That was the last time it happened. I don't care what the Mormons say. I don't care what the Muslims say. I don't care what anybody says. This is my belief system that I'm laying down here. And this is what I think. This is the last time it happened. And when we look at that, we need to look to the core. Now, here's a problem. And even though we went over this before, I really feel like we need to look at it again. Here's the problem. When we go to look at the core of our religion, we come up against world system ideologies that have taken over the religion. Please hear me carefully. When we go to look at the core, when we go to uncover the core, when we go to find the core, what we run into is world system ideologies that have hijacked the core of the religion. Now, why did all of this hijacking take place? Please, 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 if you have not gone to the 6 main pages, the pages called Here and Now, and listen to the second one called Planetary System Versus, and there's a bunch of words. Please listen to that. It's rather lengthy. It explains a whole heck of a lot. You will understand so much after you listen to that. That will help you see it. But that's why I'm revisiting it now, because I want to make sure you understand this point. This point is really, really important, because we live in a time where everything is just not what it appears to be. In other words, it's a world of lies. A world of lies. The world system has created this, and we live in the environment of it. And if we think, well, we'll just take a spiritual path and just sidetrack religion altogether, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The core has been hijacked. I mean, there's a reason those people don't have their frequencies coming up also. And there's a reason their stuff is full of mumbo jumbo also. Because the very core root of here's what this religion of light or this spiritual path of light is, the core has been hijacked. It was hijacked a long time ago. Now, let's look at this hijacking real quick and then we'll move on. Please remember, please remember, the religious systems that are tied to empires like the Roman Empire or the Egyptian Empire or the Greek Empire or any other empire, the religious systems that are tied to empire have been infused with empire thinking. So if you think, well, I'm the Roman Catholic and there's nothing more original than that, well, you're going to bump up against a Roman Empire with all the Roman Empire thinking, and these are not exactly the coolest and the hip and the most enlightened folks. I mean, they're barbarians, quite frankly. Or you come up against some other form. Well, I'm doing, my religion is from this, or my religion is from that. Well, when you go back into the religion, you start seeing, oh, wait a minute. It spread because of empire thinking. That's why it spread, because of empire thinking. Your religion, that religion has been hijacked by empire thinking. Who the heck do you think was spreading it? And why do you think it was hijacked by empire thinking? Well, you think the religion was there? I mean, do you think the religion didn't get twisted up because that whole sort of thinking was, we've got to control these people. We have to get these people to go along. Again, I don't want to get all sidetracked and lost in this, but again, I'm going to send you back to the second Here and Now page. It's called Planetary Systems It's actually, when you get to the page, you'll see planetary system versus, and then a bunch of words under there. Please, seriously, do listen to it. It is the education you are dying to know, but do not know it actually exists on this planet. It really does exist on this planet, and I've laid it out in page 2. So just go back there and listen to it. You'll be mind blown. It will answer so many questions, you will literally be mind blown. But that is what happened, okay? That's what happened. So if you think, well, we'll bypass religion, we'll just go directly to spirituality. Man, where do you think these people are getting their ideas? I mean, have you honestly ever considered where are the people that are putting forth these ideas? Where are they getting these ideas? Well, they're getting them from the spiritual root. And at one time or another, those spiritual root took the form of some religion of the past. Now, hopefully it's a religion of light as opposed to a religion of darkness. But hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Because when you're dealing with the core, the very core, the core that says return to whatever God really is, return to whatever God really is, bring up your frequency so that it's in alignment to whatever God really is. You're dealing with one system and not the hijacked world system. We're talking about the righteousness system. And if you haven't listened to that set of recordings, okay, you are really, really, really missing the mark, people. Go back. Go back and listen to that. As a matter of fact, as I have said before, these pages are extra pages. The thing you really want to take into your hearing and let it sink into your brain is the here and now pages. That's the 6 main pages, by the way. Take those in and everything else will make really good sense to you, because I'm assuming, as I'm laying these out, I'm assuming you've already listened to those. If you have not listened to those, some of these things will seem disconnected. Now, we do not want that, because we want to free ourselves and we want to get to the core, you see? And the core is the righteousness system, because there's really only one system going. It's either a system that is going or it's a system that has been hijacked. For a reason. A reason. And because of those reasons, when you go to the core and try to get to the very core, which actually will affect your frequency as a human being on planet Earth, you're going to run into doctrines, you're going to run into institutions, you're going to run into all sorts of various things. And these various things were put in place by empires. Okay? They were put in place by empires, and it's going to be very, very, very difficult to get to the core, because you're going to bump up against that stuff, and that stuff has been conditioned into the institutions. All of them that were tied to empire. All of them that were tied to empires. This is a real problem in this day and age, the 21st century. So that's why I'm making all of these audios. Okay, this one's getting kind of lengthy. We're going to go to the next one. And in the next one, we're going to start looking at what can we really dig up from the core? What is the core really directing us to do? What is the core actually for? And how is the core, if we get to the core, how is the core affecting all 4 of our components?